Hello, hello, hello. Let's check out the audio. This is a mic check. Mic check 1, 2.
Excellent.
We are good to go. Hello, my name is Abraham Walker, and this is my co-host, Crystal Walker. We make up the Ask A Walker team, and you're watching Where to Live in Northern Virginia, where we bring you relevant real estate content throughout the Northern Virginia area, right?
Mm-hmm. And so today's information we're going to share is going to be about 5 of the top rated elementary schools in Arlington County. So one thing we found in researching schools ourselves as parents is that when you're looking online and researching information for different schools, some websites are going to rate one school really high and then, maybe kind of middle of the pack on another website. And that's because different websites use different methodologies. Some really rely heavily on parent reviews, while others rely on test scores and think, diversity numbers, percentage of students receiving free lunch, all kinds of things, right? And so what we did was we looked at several different websites to figure out what are the top 5 schools that we continue to see repeatedly on all these websites as being a top performer. And so we're going to share with you today 5 of those schools in Arlington County.
Yes, and this is the last video in our series. It was a 3-part series. We started on Monday with Fairfax County, then we covered Prince William County on Wednesday, and today we're finishing up with Arlington County. And the reason why we covered all 3 counties is because we have a lot of clients who are kind of choosing between those 3 areas when they come to the area, or when they're relocating to the area, whether or not they receive their orders, or if they're just relocating for
work
private
or
industry. And then we also have a lot of clients who reach out to us on this channel who are new parents, right? They have like littles, like 2s, 3s, or even younger, and they're starting the process of choosing where they want to live based on the rating of the school. And what better way to knock out everyone's questions at one time than this week's videos. We feel very good about the content that was researched and delivered this week. I think Crystal did a great job with this week's video research. So that's what we're going to talk about today. 5 of the schools in Arlington County. And
one thing I want to share is there are a couple schools that actually do show up repeatedly on the top of the list in Arlington, but they're not going to be included in today's video. And that's because there are 2 magnet schools in Arlington. That's going to be Arlington Traditional and Arlington Science Focus. And those schools definitely have top rankings among the various websites that we looked at. However, since they are magnet schools, we're not going to include them because we're really looking at schools that have open enrollment, which means that if you have several kids and maybe they aren't on that track, they still could attend the school that's zoned for your neighborhood. So that's why those 2 schools are not going to be included in today's video. Now, as far as the websites that we use for our research, we use the 5 most common websites, and these are the websites I used myself when I was researching schools for my kids. And so that's going to be School Digger, Great Schools, Niche.com, Public School Review, and then finally US News. US News is a new one for rating elementary schools. We've been using them for years to track high schools. And just at the end of 2021, they finally started tracking elementary schools. And so those are the 5 websites that we use. We compared the rankings on all those websites and saw which schools consistently showed up. And we're going to share our top 5 with you this evening.
The information you're going to learn in this video is going to contain information about which schools showed up on all of those lists. We're going to talk about the location, talk about some specifics about the schools, different programs that are available. And then we're going to actually show you 2 properties that are tied to those schools. We're going to show you 2 properties because Arlington is one of the more expensive places to live in Northern Virginia. And even the average sales price for some of these schools is going to be at the $1 million or above price point, right?
Absolutely.
And that's not a price point that everyone can reach. So we also going to show you a school that is actually a home that's actually priced a little bit lower, so you can see what you can get for your money in the event that maybe you're not at the average or even above the average sales price. And you still want to get a great school with also a great commute. A lot of people choose to live in Arlington because it is the best commute in the region. You can't get a better commute while also not being in DC proper, right? So you can get all of your DC fixes without having all of the things that come with living in Washington, DC.
Absolutely. So before we jump into that, if you're new here, thanks for watching today's show. If you would like to speak with us about relocating or your upcoming move, check out the link down below in the description for our perfect home consultation. You'll fill out that quick questionnaire and we will link up with you via Zoom to have your perfect home consultation and answer any questions you may have, whether it's about relocating, questions you may have about the school, or just the real estate market in the area. So make sure you check that link out down below.
Excellent. So the first school we're talking about is going to be Glebe Elementary.
Yes, and that is going to be located on Glebe Road in Arlington. So that school starts at pre-kindergarten and goes up through 5th grade. I like to point that out because depending on where you live, some schools, elementary schools, go up to 6th grade. But in Arlington, these schools are going to go to 5th grade. It's a pretty small school, about 575 students. Has a student-teacher ratio of 15-1. When it comes to test scores, 96% of the students score at or above the math proficiency level, and 90% score at or above that level for reading. And then the minority population at Glebe is going to be right around 42%. So when we look at the ratings for Glebe, when we look at those different websites that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, niche.com is going to give them an A. Great Schools has an 8 out of 10. U.S. News gives it, it's going to be number 3 out of the 24 elementary schools in Arlington County. It has a 10 out of 10 on Public School Review and 4 stars on School Digger. Now, this is one of the schools that actually goes to 2 different high schools. So depending on your home address, you may end up going to Yorktown for high school, or you may end up going to Washington Liberty. And then finally, another thing about this school is it does have a foreign language program. So all of the students at Glebe Elementary will attend Spanish lessons at least twice a week. And that's going to be, in addition to Spanish being taught orally and in written communication, they also do a couple of different like cultural projects throughout the school year as well.
Now, as far as the neighborhoods that are going to be assigned or that are going to be most noted for the Glebe Elementary, you're going to be looking at parts of North Arlington. Now, North Arlington is going to come up a lot in this particular video because it seems like there's a pattern that we want to see if you could find while we're doing this particular video. So let's look at where this school is, and then we'll kind of talk about where you're going to commute to work, right? So to get to work, if you're working at the Pentagon, you're 6 miles from the Pentagon, 7 miles from Crystal City, 9.5 miles from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and then 7.5 miles from Tyson's Corner. Now, the average sales price of the average sales price of homes that are tied to this particular school is going to be just over $1 million at $1,071,000.
Mm-hmm.
The low is going to be at 525, and then the high is going to be at a little bit over $2 million. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that low also includes a few condos, of course. Arlington is known for condo living, and also it's just known for a younger population just because they have so many condos. So you'll see a lot of our lows be significantly lower than our highs because of that information.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that's cool about living in Arlington is that you do have different property types. So you have condos, townhouses, and single family homes. So you'll have the opportunity to grow your career in your 20s in a condo, move into your 30s into a townhouse, and then once you become a big baller, you can then go into a single family property.
All right. So as Abraham said, the average is going to be just over $1 million. So we're going to take a look at what you can get for around that $1 million price range. So the property we're going to look at actually sold last year for $1,078,000. So right around that average price. And it's going to be a single family home.
Yep. And you're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property, a little bit over 3,200 square feet on a 0.2 acre lot. So there is some grass here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like anything under a quarter of an acre is just enough grass not to dislike cutting the grass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a nice size yard, but not so much that you maybe need a riding lawnmower.
Exactly.
Probably still need a landscaper, but
that's true. So now we're going to look at another property that's going to be really at that $600,000 price point. So you can kind of get an idea of what you can buy in the area at just a lower price. You are looking at a townhouse. This is going to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath property. It sold for $570,000. The lot is significantly smaller. It's 0.02, so you have enough to plant one plant, right? You get one herb, great herb, but yes. So there you go, right there. So that's your backyard.
And that's a typical townhouse. That's a typical townhouse backyard. That's usually what you're going to see for most townhouse homes throughout Northern Virginia, which is enough space for a small barbecue, but not enough for a big party.
Exactly. And this particular townhouse is going to be located in Glebe Wood Village, right? All right, so the next property, really not the next property, but the next school we're going to be looking at is going to be Tuckahoe Elementary School.
All right, in Tuckahoe, similar size to Glebe, about 525 students. And again, we're going to see that pre-K through 5, or pre-K through 5th grade. Student-teacher ratio is going to be 16-1. 95% of the students scored at or above the proficient level for math, and 94% scored at or above the proficient level for reading. Now, minority enrollment at this school is going to be a little bit lower at 25%. And you're going to see pretty similar numbers as far as our different websites. So niche.com, it has a grade of an A. Great Schools gives it 8 out of 10. U.S. News ranked it as the number 4 school out of the 24 elementary schools in Arlington. Public School Review gave it a 10 out of 10. And then we're looking at 5 stars on School Digger. And the high school here is going to be Yorktown. So this one only goes to the one high school. As far as things that are available at the school, this school has a very dedicated PTA. They also participate in the Arlington Public Schools iPad initiative. So all the kids at the school in the grades 3 through 5 have their own individual iPads. And the school also offers gifted services. So one of the things we talked about earlier this week is in Fairfax County, what we see is advanced placement in the elementary school level. In Prince William County and now also in Arlington, we see that they have gifted services versus advanced placement for the elementary school level.
Now, to give you an idea of where you're going to work with the Tuckahoe school, let's get our view here. Okay, so you're looking at 8.5 miles to the Pentagon. You're looking at 10 miles to Crystal City, 12 miles to Capitol Hill, and then 4.2 miles to Tyson's Corner, because this school is going to be located really towards the northwestern side of the Arlington area. The average sales price for this particular school is going to be $1.2 million. And then you're looking at a low of 610 and a high of 1.96, or almost 2 million for properties in this area.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at what you can buy in this average sales price of 1.2 million.
And so what you see there is a pretty standard colonial home at $1.2 million.
Yep, you get a 1-car garage, not necessarily an open layout, but you do get some modern updates. Kitchen has been updated, and this is just what you're going to find at that 1 million price point, updated lighting, things like that. Now, if you find something that's a little bit more square footage, you're going to have less updates. So either you're going to get something that's updated and a little bit smaller, or you'll get something that's larger, but then you don't have any of the updates.
Yes, because this here is about 2,400 square feet, 3-bedroom, 3 full bath. So it's still a nice size home, but definitely not as large as maybe some people would expect at over $1 million.
That's true. And you're looking at a 0.14 acre lot, and this property was built in 1991. Which is, in Arlington, it's going to be challenging for you to find a newer property that's not in that 1.5 million
or above.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, even that's kind of new for Arlington. 1991 is not an old home for that area at all. Because you take us to our next property, and this one here is built in 1948.
That's true. And this one here is going to be closer. It's going to be a little bit more affordable at $700,000, and this is going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property. It's called a duplex, so it's not necessarily called a townhouse. And then you're looking at 1,200 square feet, and just a traditional townhouse lot at 0.07. So a 1/4 teaspoon of backyard. Again, you have something at least is updated, so even at this price point, you're going to get something that's a little bit more modern features.
A little bit small, 1,200 square feet, about the average size of many townhomes. Smaller kitchen, but again, $700,000 in one of the top school districts in Arlington. I mean, you can't even get into some of the top school districts in Fairfax County at $700,000. So,
yeah,
not bad.
Not at all. Especially to say that you'll have a wonderful, amazing commute.
Alrighty, so if you're still with us, make sure you check out our Perfect Home questionnaire, which is going to be linked down below in the description. If you're interested in speak with us about your upcoming move, whether you have questions about the area or about the real estate market in general, check out that link and fill out the questionnaire, and we will reach out to you to schedule a Perfect Home consultation where you'll meet with Abraham and discuss your plans.
Excellent. So the next school on our list is going to be Jamestown Elementary School.
Okay, so Jamestown has about 600 students enrolled each school year. Again, that pre-K through fifth grade. Let's see, we're looking at 15-1 student-teacher ratio, so it's a little bit lower. 95% of students scored at or above the math proficiency level, and 94% scored at or above the proficiency level for reading. And school minority enrollment going down even just a little bit more than our last school at 23%. As far as ratings on the various websites, it received an A on niche.com, 9 out of 10 on Great Schools. This is the only school on our list with a 9 out of 10 on Great Schools. Number 5 on the U.S. News out of the 24 elementary schools in Arlington. Has a 10 out of 10 on Public School Review and 5 stars on School Digger. And once again, Yorktown High School. Yorktown will be the high school the kids would attend if they go to Jamestown Elementary. I want to say, well, we'll see if every elementary school ends up going to Yorktown from this top 5 list.
Yes. It is interesting. If I'll just pull the map back up again, if you'll notice that this is the elementary school that services the northern part of the Arlington area, and that is going to be the most expensive part of Arlington. So we see an average sales price over here of $1.6 million. That's the average sales price, and a low of $790,000, and then a high of $3.3 million. Right. So this is going to be the cream of the crop up here, and let's just look at like how where you're going to be going to work at. Let's see. Okay. So you're going to be 7 miles from the Pentagon, 9 miles to Crystal City, 11.5 miles to Capitol Hill, and then 6 miles to Tyson's. Again, those beautiful commutes, those commute numbers are just amazing for that part of the region.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to take a look at
what you get at that average price point of 1.6. So this one here actually sold for $1.625 million. Is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. Let's see, about 4,200 square feet. So pretty large home.
Single family, of course, on 1/3 of an acre. As you can see, it's going to be a little bit more square footage, of course, which is one of the reasons why properties in this area are going to be a little bit more expensive than the rest of Arlington. You just get more. You have more square footage on a lot of these lots.
And even though this is an older home, this home was built in the 1950s, you're still going to see at this price point, you can still expect a lot of updates.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, to be expected at $1.6 million.
Well, also at the $1.6 million mark, because I know some people may be wondering why they aren't getting a new property. As you can see, if you couldn't afford to live in these neighborhoods at 1.6, this is a very expensive teardown. So it just makes more sense just to move in, move a couple walls around, update the lighting, update the kitchens, and then call it home, just like these individuals have done as well.
Now, we shared that the low price was just under $800,000. So we're going to show you another property that's kind of in that $850,000 price range. This one sold for $860,000.
Yep, and this is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath property that sits on 1/4 of an acre, a quarter of an acre. You're looking at a split level design. Yeah, it's still a single family home. Nice layout. I mean, I don't mind. I know some people dislike split levels. They're not really that big of a deal for me because I know that you don't have that many steps in this split level.
Awesome. So this is a little bit older, not as many updates, but still to get into, this is the northernmost part of Arlington. One of the top rated schools under $1 million and a nice size home. This is about 3,000 square feet. So if you look at in one of the other areas, we're looking at a similar price point, maybe $100,000 less. You're looking at 1,200 square feet.
Right.
So this is going to put you in like that very top neighborhood in North Arlington, or that very top price range at under $900,000.
Also, can we just admire the wallpaper in this property here?
I actually really like it.
I love wallpaper. All right, so the next school on our list right now is going to be Nottingham Elementary School.
All right, so next up, Nottingham, I think is going to be our smallest school on today's list with 485 students. Once again, grades served are going to be pre-K through fifth grade. Student-to-teacher ratio is going to be 15-1. 95% of their students scored at or above the at or above the math proficiency level, while 92% scored at or above the reading proficiency level. Minority enrollment here is going to be up just a little bit from our last school at 27%. And as far as those different websites, we're looking at a grade of an A on niche.com, 8 out of 10 from Great Schools. It's ranked number 7 out of 24 on US News, 10 out of 10 on Public School Review, and has 5 stars on School Digger. And surprisingly, Yorktown High School is going to be the high school for the area.
That is a shocker. That is a shocker.
So let's take a look at what the different areas are, the commute times.
Okay, so again, we're looking at, let's see. For our commute times, we're looking at 9 miles to the Pentagon, 9 miles to Crystal City, 10 miles to Capitol Hill, and then 5.5 miles to Tyson's Corner here. And again, this school is going to be located in the northern part of the, oh no, that's not it. Nottingham. So we're still looking at that northeastern part of Arlington. So we still are looking at a little bit higher price range than some of the other schools on our list. At average sales price of $1.2 million. The low is going to be $600,000, and then we have a high of $2.1 million. So the first house on our list is going to be a single family house. It's 4 bedroom, 2 baths, and it is listed. Well, it's sold for $1.2 million. Look
so
at that
right at our
porch.
average price. And this was going to be, again, slightly older home. This home was built in the 1940s, but nice size lot, as you said, a 1/4 acre lot. Some updates at this price point. So not necessarily a whole lot of updates, but tastefully updated throughout. 4 bedroom, 2 bath, bungalow style home. And again, it's not there. I don't think they've necessarily taken down a bunch of walls in this style home, but still pretty open.
Well, they had to have taken down a couple walls.
Well, I mean over here.
Oh, gotcha. Yes. Great layout. Again, in this $1 million plus price point, even these older homes, don't get scared off by this 1949 aged home, because a lot of them are going to have these updates, and they're going to be tastefully renovated, or at least some of the walls have already been opened up and whatnot. So now let's look at something in that $850 price point, so a little bit lower, and you're going to get something just a little bit smaller there.
Yeah, so this was going to be about 3,200 square feet, but still 4 bedrooms.
Yep, 2 full baths, and then you're looking at another 1/4 acre lot here as well. So not as many updates, of course, because of the price point. But again, to get into one of the top-rated elementary schools in Arlington, that's assigned to one of the top-rated high schools in the region, and then have those single-digit commutes. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah. I mean, it's still move-in ready.
Yeah.
So even though it doesn't have as many updates, it still is a move-in ready property for under $1 million, like you said, in one of the top school districts in Northern Virginia as a whole. Not even just in Arlington, but in Northern Virginia as a whole.
Yeah. The only way you can go from there is really into private.
That's true.
Private school is what's left after that, if you're not pleased. So now we have Taylor Elementary School. Right?
Yeah, so Taylor is going to be actually our largest school on today's list. And so it has almost 700 students enrolled in grades pre-K through 5th. Student-to-teacher ratio is going to be 16-1. 96% of the students scored at or above the math proficiency level, and 92% scored at or above proficiency level for reading. And then as far as the minority enrollment, enrollment at the schools, we're looking right around 26%. So you see in North Arlington, one thing we notice is that a lot of the schools hover around like that 25% range as far as diversity numbers go. Now, we look at the different websites that we looked at during this research. We see that on each.com, this school also has a grade of an A. Great Schools gave it a 8 out of 10 rating. And then out of the 25 elementary schools in Arlington, U.S. News rates this as the number 6 elementary school. Public School Review rated it a 10 out of 10, and it has 5 stars on the School Digger website. And like some of the other schools in the area, this school does offer gifted services as well as having a STEAM lab.
Excellent. And this school is going to be located 5 miles to the Pentagon, 7 miles to Crystal City, 7.5 miles to Capitol Hill, and 9 miles to Tyson. So all single-digit distances. The average sales price for properties in this area are going to be $1.4 million, and you're looking at a low of $685,000 with a high of $3.8 million. That's
quite a range.
That's
quite a range.
Absolutely. That's a lot of those condos and whatnot, just mucking up the numbers. All right. So the first property we're looking at is something at $1.385 million. And so this is going to be a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse. Yep, you heard us. That's almost a $1.4 million townhouse.
Yeah, and it is a bit newer. So this was only built in 2000. So definitely, I want to say the newest property we've talked about so far, right?
Yes, that's true.
So this is, a luxury condo, 2-car garage, open layout, around 2,500 square feet. Now this is in my opinion, pretty small kitchen, but that's just this property.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a townhouse, so it's really more about location when you're looking at properties in Arlington. So you will have to forego some either square footage or some lot, right? And to be honest with you, a lot of people don't use those lots anyway. So
that's true.
Yeah. So if you're looking for entertaining space in the interior property, I mean, this house, as you can see, it has a nice entertaining space. Also, look at this large.
That's a huge master suite.
Huge. You can put yourself a king size bed, and look, they have a little sitting space there. So look, if you have that $1.3 million price range, there's something for you. There is something for you. All right. So the next property we want to look at, just to give anybody who have various income ranges, our price ranges, is a property that's at the $790 price range. So this property sold for $790,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse.
Right around 1,300 square feet. So again, going to be significantly smaller, but again, put you in that same school district below $800,000.
So while you don't have a renovated kitchen, you do have somebody that has painted the cabinets and installed stainless steel appliances, which, that'll get you by. Yeah, they've already opened up a little bit of the floor plan as well.
And this is also going to be, a little bit newer. This one here is built in 1990, so not even a terribly old property. But again, you're going to get that opportunity to be in this school district under $1 million. Now, keep in mind, this is a smaller unit. At this price point, we really are looking at 2-bedroom units. You're going to be hard pressed to find something with 3 bedrooms below $800,000 in this particular area.
Right. So you're probably looking at 1 or 2 kids in this type of house here. Excelente.
Now, one thing we want to share with you is the school district in Arlington has made it really simple for you to find out what school is zoned for each property address. So if you visit the Arlington Public School website, you can actually just plug in a property address. If you can copy and paste that example there, it will pull up the exact school for every grade level. So it will show you where you would go for elementary school, middle, and high school. But also, if you're interested in one of the immersion schools in the area, it will show you which of those schools you would be assigned to as well. So that's one cool thing about, I think, all of the school systems here in Northern Virginia is you can put that information in. If you look, the magnet school is listed there because, as I said at the top of the video, there are a couple of magnet schools that service Arlington, but it also is going to show you the immersion school if you're interested in that, the middle school, and the high school assignment for each individual property address.
Excelente. So we have covered Let's see if I can get it pulled up here.
While he pulls that up, thank you for watching today. If you have any questions or if you want to meet with us to talk about your move or your plans to relocate to the area, make sure you check out the Perfect Home questionnaire. It's going to be linked down below in the description. You just fill out that quick questionnaire and we will arrange a time for you to meet with Abraham for a Perfect Home consultation where you'll meet via Zoom to discuss your plans.
Excellent. So we covered 5 properties on today's video. Well, 5 elementary schools. I keep on calling them properties. I'm so used to talking about properties. We've covered 5 elementary schools. So Glebe Elementary, Tuckahoe, Jamestown, Nottingham, and Taylor. One thing that all of those schools had in common, and we could just pull it up on the map over here, is
their location.
Right. So all of these schools are really located in North Arlington. Yeah. So we really consider everything that's above 50 to be called to be considered like North Arlington. And so it's not a shocker that these schools all are above 50. And also it's not a shocker that this is also the most expensive part of the
Exactly. All the homes are above $1 million as far as average list price.
Yes. And so the same thing, we saw this same trend when we were looking at Fairfax County schools as well. You saw that and I could just pull this up for you. We saw that a lot of the schools were just located in this northern part of the county. Right?
Absolutely. You had the one outlier in Sangster and Springfield, but other than that, the schools were all in the northern part of Fairfax County.
So really, if you're looking for a top-rated school in this region, right? If you want to go to Arlington, if you want to go to Arlington, or if you want to go to Fairfax County, you will have to pony up a little bit more money for your property, because as you can see that this is where all of the schools are located. They're usually located in the northern part of Fairfax County, or the northern part of Arlington. And I'd also say that you're probably looking at you're probably not commuting to Fort Belvoir, right? So, and I think that is going to be really challenging for you to, even if you were commuting to Fort Belvoir, for your BAH to support living in those these high cost of living areas. So you will have to make some concessions here.
Absolutely. But what I will share is these are just 5 of the top schools. And so there are still several schools within both of these counties that I wasn't able to include because I really was looking for the ones that showed up at the top of each website repeatedly. So there are some schools that we can find not so much in Arlington, unfortunately, but in Fairfax County, where we'll still see some pretty well regarded schools, just not at the very top of the list. Like they're not going to be. Maybe the schools in Springfield won't compare to the schools in McLean, but they'll still, maybe be not even middle of the pack, still fairly good, but just not as highly rated as what we see in northern Fairfax County.
Right. You just have to make concessions based on your budget. We see that time and time again. This is a high cost of living area. So even though you're buying $500,000, $700,000, $900,000, $1.1 million,
that doesn't
million,
guarantee you the very best areas.
Guarantee you the best. Like even for some of our clients who are in that $1.5 million price range, if they say to us that they want to buy a 5-bedroom property, they're gonna have to go a little bit further west. Like it becomes more challenging, right? So we gave you this series, or this series was really done so you can have a jumping off point, right? Because a lot of our clients, especially if they're coming to this area from another part of America, you're most likely used to having like a few schools that you can choose, and maybe affordable. They're not affordable to live around those areas, and so you can't live in those areas. The great news is that in Northern Virginia, a lot of our schools are just highly rated. This series is really about the cream of the crop for the most part.
Absolutely.
And then this also kind of gives you an idea of how to research schools, right? Because some of our newer parents that reach out to us, they haven't really dived into the data. Or they don't really know how to navigate
They're not even familiar with the websites are yet.
Right, yes.
And so this just gives you an idea of where you can start. I recommend checking out all the websites that we mentioned in this video, because I do find that the information available on each is a little bit different. There's some information that I find on like Public School Review and US News, and that information is a little bit different than what I find on Great School. So I encourage you to use all the resources that are available to you, just so you can get as complete of a picture as you can, if you don't know anyone who has personal experience at the individual schools.
And what are the websites again?
The websites used were niche.com, greatschools.org, schooldigger.com, US News, and finally publicschoolreview.com.
A lot more people are going to be used to Great Schools, right? Because Great Schools has they have more marketing dollars. They just have, to be honest with you, but they're just a much more popular brand. Also, Redfin uses it in its search, so we do know a lot of people who like the Redfin search because it is a intuitive, easier search, a lot of data that's available to you. But I just don't think that using Great School by itself is the best option, right?
No.
Because I feel like some of the data is more skewed to the more wealthier parts of the region. And I think that it's skewed that way because who is going to fill out the reviews, right? Like who's going to be concerned about it? Like we find a lot of our parent friends or parents that we help move to this area. They know that the Fairfax County, Arlington County, even Prince William County, they have better than decent schools.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's one of the things that people know about the area is that overall, throughout Northern Virginia, you're probably looking at schools throughout the entire region that are going to be more highly rated than most other schools throughout the country.
Right. So when you consider that, I think that a lot of parents say, you know what, I'm here, I've made it to this location, I think my kids are going to be fine. And I think that they're right.
Yeah, we're those parents. Anyway.
Excellent. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to post them down below in the comment section. Also, there will be a link to a webpage so you could search for properties by the schools that are listed in this video here. You should look for that. This live stream is on Friday night, so probably Sunday night. You should check back into the description for a link that will take you to a customized search. So if you're only interested in the 5 schools that are listed here, you don't have to go through the whole process of creating a search or drawing bubbles or drawing shapes and stuff like that. So excellent. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that this series was helpful to you. We hope that this gives you, takes some pressure off of your search, and let us know if there's any other content you would like us to create. We enjoy doing the research. We also enjoy just having this conversation with you and making this information more easily accessible.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Peace.